Hi there, this is Java Jim with First Line Equipment, and today we are going over how to set up the BWT water treatment system. And I say water treatment because it's not only just a filter but actually treats the water. And why do I mean by that? Basically, you need to remove calcium, magnesium, manganese from your water to avoid buildup. And a lot of filters do not do that because customers call and say, well, I'm going to just buy a regular filter at such and such store or maybe a competitor of ours. And being one of the first companies in the US to actually carry this system, I'll explain first why, and then we'll get into the details of how to set this up. Those filters don't take out the calcium magnesium, and you cannot really use RO water, purified or distilled, especially in machines that have a refill probe where it monitors the water level in the boiler because it sends 5 volts or 1.5 volts or a half a volt through a probe through the water. And if it's too pure, you'll get a lot of overfilling. So that's one aspect. You can't use those waters. As you probably have seen maybe my other videos, do not use reformulated waters, which means using distilled, purified, or RO with some packet minerals, because when customers use that, they typically run into issues in as little as 2 weeks, literally. And there's people out there who won't believe me, and you know why? Because they don't deal with the issues. We deal with the issues, and that's why one of the first questions we ask is about the water and what type of water treatment you're using. So Bestmax, as of this video and for the last few years, is one of the better, and I don't like to use the word best, but one of the better systems. And I call it system, and I'm going to start with the hose. So basically most espresso machines and fittings have BSPP, usually 3/8, sometimes smaller. But they have a hose that goes from BSPP, which is on the, let's see here, the valve, the head valve that they use, that goes into your cold water supply. Always use cold water, okay? So they have that hose. You have a valve, and this they have changed over the years. They have multiple valves, and what's actually coming, or actually just came out, is a dual head valve. Because they're coming out with some other sort of filters that you can put 2 in line together. Most important is also the water pressure regulator that monitors your water pressure. Most espresso machines like the water pressure between 35 and 40, also so you don't blow out the filters. So you have your water pressure regulator. Here they also have a meter, okay, with a display. And what does the meter help with? Well, you could program how much water to go down. Like, so you could say 3,300 liters, okay? And it will do kind of a countdown. And like this, you'll see it on the display. The unfortunate part is this thing doesn't beep. So you do have to check this regularly. If you put this in your home, I would say maybe once a month. In your cafe or restaurant, I would do it once a week. And sometimes you can forecast, and it could be once a month in low volume. It also depends on the size of your cartridge, because the cartridge that is used comes in several sizes, up from a small up to a 2XL. And the cartridge should be replaced every 6 months. And now you ask why? Well, you ever have a refrigerator filter? Again, doesn't take out magnesium and calcium typically, just the bad other stuff. You want to replace every 6 months so you avoid any type of fungal or bacterial buildup. So after you buy your first cartridge, you'll see how often you replaced it, and then you can gauge on what size that you need. Just make sure if you go with a smaller one that you have space for a bigger one in case you do a lot of water. And in some cases, you may be drinking the water out of this filter because sometimes it tastes pretty good. The other thing that I do like is the flush valve that they have. Now, why do you need a flush valve? And typically you want to run 3 gallons of water through the flush valve when you install a new filter. And why? Why? The answer is because many filters and water treatment systems have paper in the system. And you want to flush out any type of paper sediment that may be in the cartridge. And a lot of systems or treatments or filters do not have the flush valve. And what happens is that paper sediment comes in through your espresso machine, and you have valves inside your espresso machine that have eensy weensy little holes. And guess what the paper sediment does? Blocks the hole, which may prevent your boiler from filling up, may prevent water going through a group head, or even the hot water valve not allowing any water to come out. So every time you install this filter, use the flush valve. And we do sell the kit. If you look up on our website, BWT Kit, and you can select the different parameters. I know for one espresso machine, I think VBM, we sell a different type of hose or fitting. We also sell the fitting to convert. So if you don't get this hose, there is another conversion to go to basically flex tubing or plex tubing. So, all right, so the tools that you typically will need, 2 crescent wrenches, a blade to open the boxes. What you don't see here, but I'm going to get, is plumber's tape if you decide to use it, which is not necessarily on these hoses, but you may want to do it on some of the other connections, just a light thing, and you may want to do that. All right, so let's get started. So the first step before programming is to go to page 13 in the manual that came with the water filter for the treatment system. And as you notice, you have your different size versions here from small to 2XL. And then you have your PPMs here, okay, which you need to test with your water. And typically you can get your a test kit or your TDS meter and try to gauge. So typically in New Jersey, we're in somewhere in this range here. So for the 2XL, we would actually program for basically 3,500 gallons. And in this cartridge, we have the, I believe, yeah, the regular XL, which will program for 1,996 gallons or 7,500 liters. Just make sure that you select the chart that goes with hot beverage machines with steam generator, because with espresso machines, we are making steam, but this can be used for other appliances that generate steam. Okay, so make sure you get into the ballpark based on this information here. Again, the sheet is right here. Okay, and we're going to go over this on the meter. And the first thing you want to do is take off the little cover, and we're set at 100 on it. And if this is in liters, so if we want to go to gallons, we can just hold both buttons and then hit the program button to get to US gallon, and then this side is to save it. And 100 liters now says 26 gallons. Okay, next step will be hit program, and now it says code, and we have to get to here, we have to get 4. So I press the reset button, hit this side, now it moves over. See, it's going right to left. Next one is 3, program button. Okay, next one is going to be 2, program button. 1, program button. Now we hit program. And now we're into the program of how many gallons. And what did I say? 1,396. That's what we want to program. We'll get back to 6. Hit program. Hit the reset button until we get to 9 for 90. Program. Now 300. Program. And then 1. Program. Program. So that's for 1,396 gallons. And then you're going to use the flush and get it down to 1393 in this case to get the 3 gallons out. And then this is where you're going to check the meter, okay, as it gets down closer to 0. You want to make sure you have another filter on hand. And it says for the reset, you hold it for 3 seconds. And that will reset the counter back to the 1396. So you can see there's sometimes some difficulty setting this up, but you want to set up the pressure regulator first, then clean and treat the water, and then measure how much goes through the valve. Okay, because again, you got to run 3 gallons or almost 12 liters of water before you allow it to get to the espresso machine. So the only thing that may get dirty is the pressure regulator, but you don't want to put this after the filter head valve or the filter head, because you may have too much pressure that blows out the valve and the canister. This is Java Jim with First Line Equipment. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please ask down below. Please follow us on all our social media channels. Not only just follow us, but share to show that you care with all your friends and family and neighbors who have espresso machines and want to put in one of the better water treatment systems out there. If you'd like to make a purchase, please click that link down below. We do sell these on our website and ship all over the United States, all 50 states. And as I always say, coffee first, everything else second, but save your espresso machine with a great water treatment system. Thank you and take care.